Linky.
I'm mile split.
You are mile split.
Wow.
We are pleased to be joined on this week's episode by NCAA 5,000 meter champion, one of the best cross-country runners in the nation. He's Grant Fisher of Stanford. Grant, thank you so much for coming on. How you doing?
Not too bad. Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Appreciate it. Now, you're just coming off the Pac-12 title, another big kick. When we talked to you after pre-nationals, you mentioned that you had mistimed your kick a little bit, made it a little more dramatic than you probably would have liked. How did you like your closing speed at Pac-12s?
Yeah, I think I was a lot more confident going into this one. Just getting a race under your belt. Pre-nats was my first race of the season, so the first one you kind of don't really know if you're tuned up to throw down a really hard effort. But yeah, I was a lot more confident going into this one, and my coach wanted me to wait until super late to kind of make a final push for the line. So yeah, I went for that and definitely had a good one out there. And yeah, it was pretty crazy with the last 250 meters. It was really crowded, so it was good practice kind of navigating that because yeah, anything can happen at NCAAs, and we might come around that corner at the Wisconsin course and have 10 guys left. So yeah, it was good practice.
Yeah, that would be absolutely thrilling. I'm wondering how you're balancing, team versus individual goals as we look ahead to nationals. I know last year there was a big move that was made early, and there was a gap from you to everybody else. Have you thought about that at all this year? Your approach tactically to nationals?
Yeah, I think last year I didn't have full confidence in my ability to really hammer with those guys out front. The cross-country oriented 10K guys, those guys can really throw down a hard pace. And I think this year the case is a little different because making the best decision in a race for my team is pretty much the best decision I can make for myself as well. And that's just not let anyone go early. And I definitely thought about that a lot last year, that race specifically, on deciding not to go with that group. And I think this year I don't want to have any regrets about that. And I think my fitness is good enough this year where I can run with the whole field. So yeah, the decision that's in my best interest is also the decision that's in the best team interest. So it's a lot more easy this year to decide what to do.
Well, as the calendar is about to turn to November, Grant, obviously we're thinking about the NCAA Championships, and just doing a little digging through the Stanford cross-country archives, we noticed that Stanford has never had an individual cross-country champion on the women's or the men's side. I just wanted to know if you were aware of that, or if that's something you guys talk about at all on the team.
Yeah, actually that's never been mentioned. I did not know that. Yeah, that is kind of surprising because, back in early 2000s, in the years before that, Stanford had such good teams. But I mean, that shows that one individual doesn't win it for the team. So it would be awesome to be in that for Stanford, but that's not really my goal. My goal is to get out there and compete for my team and run for my team. And if that's the result in the end, then I'll be thrilled with it. But first and foremost, I want to get out there and do my best.
So I'm guessing by what you're saying there, you don't feel pressure at all, though, to be that first person? I mean, Ryan Hall's finished runner-up. Obviously, he was a great runner. There's been so many people throughout the years for Stanford, going back to the machine years and everything that have come close. But given the position that you're in now, you're 2-0, you've beaten some of the best guys, you're an NCAA champion, you don't feel any pressure at all to be the first guy?
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel any pressure for that. I think at the end of the day, I can decide what puts pressure on me and what doesn't, and to me, that really isn't a big pressure thing. As I said, it would be really cool to be that person, but that's my goal is not that outcome goal and be the first to do something. And there's been a lot of incredible Stanford runners that have come before me, and it would be incredible to do something that they had never done, but I know that the result in a few weeks isn't going to dictate my career as a runner, and because of that, I mean, I don't think I need to put too much pressure on myself to do it for that reason. Doing it for other reasons would be better, but to do it just because I want to be the first to do something, I don't think that's a very good reason.
Cool.
What are some of those reasons that are motivating you? you just mentioned?
Yeah, I'm a senior. This is my last year of eligibility for cross country, and I really like where our team culture is at this year. And I know that the guys are counting on me to do my job. And at the end of the day, I want to do it for them and for my coach and for my program. Doing it for the individual aspect of feeling good about myself for doing something that hasn't been done before at Stanford is to me not the greatest reason, and it's something that really motivates me. It's more just I know that the guys next to me and behind me are doing their job, and all I have to do is do mine as well. So that's kind of what motivates me, and just racing some of the top guys is going to be really motivating too. NCAA is pretty stacked now, as far as there are a lot of guys that can win this race, and I plan to put myself out there and see what I can do.
Yeah, and last track season, actually after NCAA Outdoors, you gave a really candid interview where you reflected on your struggles from the past year. You revealed that you and your coach were kind of questioning your place on the team. What's your journey been like from then to now?
Yeah, I guess at the point of that interview, I'd already kind of shifted my mindset. But this summer, I stayed on campus and ran with a lot of the guys on the team every day. And I definitely had a different approach. I think in summers past, I just kind of took the training that was given to me. And because I had had success in the past, I just kind of thought that, I just had to show up every day and put the work in and go back. And that would be enough to make me successful again. But yeah, over the course of last year, I realized that that model that I had made me successful in the past, but it wasn't going to continue to make me grow as an athlete, as a person. So over the summer, I just tried to be a lot more purposeful and think about more people than just myself and how my actions affect the group, and think about what I want to do in college and post-collegiately, and how my daily decisions were helping me towards that. And so I think that helped out a lot, and I think it made me feel a little more comfortable around the entire team, because there's no way I could get on somebody for not doing the little things when I wasn't doing them myself. So I definitely feel like I'm contributing a lot more to the program this year, not just from as a result of having a list of things, but as far as like attitude and culture and approach to what I love to do. So it's been great. Yeah, the journey's been really fun, and there were some disappointing days in the past, and there's going to be disappointing days in the future, I'm sure. But I think my mindset is such this year that I can grow from a lot of those things.
And now for a little bit more of a lighter question. Which Stanford men's cross-country alum would make the best Halloween costume?
Make the best Halloween costume? I think it would probably be funny to do a Ryan Hall. You could have one person dress up as Ryan Hall, like while he was running, and then one when he became a bodybuilder all of a sudden.
Yeah.
A before and after. That'd be pretty funny.
Lincoln put that question specifically in there to get a Rosa response, right?
I was hoping for a Jim or Joe, but
Ryan Hall before and after would be great too.
Yeah, that's true. That's better. That's better.
We got a couple other ones, Grant, but before you go, but touching back on that theme of pressure, you're one of only 10 high school American boys who have broken 4 in the mile. How did you navigate that? We've seen some of those 10 go on to great things, and the sub-4 was a stepping stone. Others didn't. That was sort of the high point of that career. Obviously, you're in that first group going on to win an NCAA championship. But what were some of the things you were thinking about, or what were some of the ways that you didn't let that one accomplishment define the rest of your career?
Yeah. I think one thing that really helped me out was that I wasn't trying to run sub-4 so I could be the 7th or 8th guy to ever run sub-4, because I knew that if that was my end goal, if that was like my running career goal to do that if I accomplished that, then I would have nothing, I wouldn't have that motivating factor anymore. And so I never really was like dead set on running sub 4. I just wanted to run fast and compete against good guys. And the sub 4 ended up happening. I was incredibly grateful and thankful for everything that came along with it. But right after that, I was in college, and it doesn't matter if I'm 18 and I've run sub 4, if I'm running against guys that are 22 and I've run 355 or 354. And I think being on the team with Sean my freshman, sophomore, and junior year were just really beneficial to that mindset, because I think if I'd gone to a different program and gone in and everyone treated me as a superstar, then I would kind of just become complacent with it. And because I'm in a program where there's a lot of fast people and there's not pressure, to an environment suited that you shouldn't be comfortable with where you are, even if where you are is great. You should always be striving for something more. And I try not to let my past accomplishments or anything like that dictate who I am today and who I'm going to be. And my teammates certainly keep my head from getting too big, which is great. So I think in that it's just how I approached high school and how I'm approaching college, and it's the same thing. As I was talking about the NCAA Championships soon, if that's your goal to win an NCAA cross country championship, then if you ever accomplish that, then you're kind of out of goals. So it would be incredible to do something like that, but in a similar approach to what I had with running fast in high school. I'm thinking a lot bigger than that, and I'm thinking about how I'm doing it, and I think the how is more important than like an outcome. I think that's how kind of I've approached it.
Mm-hmm. One more before you go. We got a listener question here. They want to know, what's your favorite and least favorite Halloween candy?
Least favorite is candy corn.
Oh.
I really hate candy corn.
It's
I know
such
that's
a bad
like
rap.
a polarizing topic, but I think I just like some houses around where I grew up just gave out too much candy corn,
Yeah.
and I just got sick of it. My favorite would probably be 100 grand bars.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Which I found the other day, like, people think that's old people candy. Like, I was at dinner last week, and we were talking about candy bars, and I said 100 grand, and they're like, what? I didn't know that, but
That's right in the payday family and
Oh, it's so much better than payday, though. No, it's I respect that. It's a good take.
Almond Joy.
Yeah. That was the category they told me. They were like, Almond Joy, payday, 100 grand.
That's blasphemy.
That's awesome. I love it. True to yourself. Well, Grant, thank you so much for taking the time to hop on. Good luck at the West Regional, and then at Nationals. We'll see you again in Madison.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys.
See ya.
Thanks, Grant.
Thanks, Grant.
Yep.
All right. Thanks again to our guest, Grant Fisher. Hard candy takes there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess the candy is soft. The takes were hard.
We always save the hardball questions for the last segment, so I'm glad he came to play.
Candy corn just gets a horrible rap, and it's everybody's least favorite candy. So I don't know how it survives. As that they got to get some good marketing people on the candy corn accounts to really up the name of candy corn, because it's just people are talking bad about it.
I agree, and that seemed to change a couple years ago, right? Was there just like an internet campaign to discredit candy corn? I mean, it's fun. It's just sugar.
I mean,
Right. Chewy sugar.
It's sugar in a triangle.
Oh, I haven't even eaten any candy corn this season. Yeah, I don't know.
But I think it's like one of those things where the populace got against it, and then there was no stopping it.
Wow.
Let's talk about the conference weekend.
Yeah.
We mentioned Mr. Fisher got the title on his home course at Stanford in the Pac-12 Championship, but there were other conference meets as well. Lincoln, we'll start with you. What was your most important, most significant conference meet takeaway?
Yeah, I'm going to go to the Big Ten, the Wisconsin men winning by over 30 points there.
Ooh.
And at Big Ten's there in Lincoln, Nebraska, you were there. I mean, they looked mighty impressive. Yeah. They had 3 in the top 4. I think the Badgers showed themselves as podium contenders. They moved into the top 5 now in our rankings. So we knew that Hoare and obviously McDonald were good. They went 1-2, but you had Ben Eidenshank mixing it in the top 5, and Olin Hacker as well. As we get a look at Hoare, this was a fun race too. That's kind of beside the point, but the individual battle between McDonald and Hoare was certainly entertaining. I just really like what the Wisconsin men have done over the past couple meets. When you consider that their number 3 was just their number, I think it was their number 5 guy in this one, as Tyson Mee beat Olin Hacker. So Hacker was their number 5. He's going to be a guy that's going to run up there and only get improved once it moves to 10K. So if they're getting low stick performances, I mean, not super low stick out of Aiden Schenk and Tyson Mee, but if those guys are improving and hitting on all cylinders as we head into the postseason, Wisconsin on their home course, led by 2 low sticks, and maybe, no offense, Grant Fisher, but maybe Morgan McDonald, the individual national champion, definitely a team that can get a trophy at nationals.
Well, he's one of the 6 I think that can win it. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think McDonald, Fisher, the 2 guys from NAU, and then Edward Kurgat and James Segura are pretty interesting there. After that, I don't really see anybody outside that 6 winning the individual title. You mentioned Hacker, talked to Mick Byrne afterwards, said Hacker had a little bit of a cold, and that's why he was farther back. So once that gets rectified and he gets better, you could have had 3 or 4 in the top 5 potentially for Wisconsin, or at least 4 in the top 6. Very impressive. Did it surprise you guys at all that they went after each other?
Yeah, a little bit. Not gonna lie. But I'm glad they did. It sure made for a really exciting race. And I'm just happy to see that Ollie's back in his tip top cross country form.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how he obviously last year he won Big Tens and then he went on to win the 1500 at Nationals though, but he didn't fare as well when it moved up to 10K. Will he? Will he make a similar jump this year and kind of be a guy that can maybe be an All-American for the Badgers? He'll have to be that for them, I think, to finish up on the podium.
My takeaway was that the women's team race is now a wonderful, beautiful log jam, and it is terrific. And this was the byproduct of a couple different things happening. Number one, Oregon puts 4 in the top 8 at Pac-12s and beats previously number 1 ranked Colorado. The second thing that happened, Boise State almost ends New Mexico's
2 points
10-year win streak in the Mountain West. They lose by 2 points there. And the third thing, Arkansas just keeps rolling, and they look pretty strong. Their pack looks pretty tight. So right now, guys, I think you have legitimately 5 teams that can win it. 2 of them are in that shot right there with Colorado and Oregon, and then you go 2 from the Mountain West with New Mexico and Boise, and then you have to respect Arkansas. They've beaten Oregon decisively head-to-head, although Oregon's team seems to change in terms of optimism every couple weeks. But I don't know how you separate these right now, and we started out with a clear New Mexico favorite, but Oregon, man, they get Hull in second, they get Susan Ajore in the top 6. They get Veronica Pajzik looking like the Veronica Pajzik of last fall. Very, very strong. And I know you're big on Boise, Lincoln.
I'm running the Boise train right now. I'm driving it. Yeah, I think I think they have just as good of top 3 as anyone not named New Mexico in the country. And then they have a 4 and 5 that could be All-Americans on good days. So yes,
kind of similar to Colorado's team in that. You have the one person who could potentially or should be in the top 5 for sure. Yeah. But that back half is solid. Colorado a little bit farther behind than where we expected them to be. I mean, part of that was Oregon was running well. Part of it was Colorado a little bit behind probably where they were at Nuttycombe. Jenny, your big takeaway from conference week?
Yeah, so speaking of 5th runners and Boise State, my biggest takeaway was essentially that New Mexico's number 5 might not be enough for them at NCAAs. This was kind of the weekend to fix that 30-second gap we've been seeing between 4 and 5 for them. And they weren't able to improve on that, and that's way too much daylight between those 2 runners, especially in the field of NCAAs. It's so deep. There's so many good people. So yeah, that was my biggest takeaway. I just don't know if they can fix that in time.
Yeah, and we know that their 1, 2, 3 are going to be solid. Kaladi's at this point the favorite, and Kurgat, at worst she'll have a 3rd, 4th, or 5th, but most likely 2nd place finish, and Proust is a likely top 10. But they have just not quite gotten it. It really is coming down to the number 5, as you said. Obviously, that was the point of the segment, because Cohen has gotten better. Adva Cohen, who we thought would be a superstar, but really has just proven to be a very solid number 4. But the 5s just have not delivered yet. In that yes, they won this. I think people understand this, but the conference meet is so much different than the national meet when you consider how many bodies they'll be filled in at nationals in between what they did at conference. And I think Boise State would have beat the New Mexico women had this been a nationals race.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you see New Mexico's 5 there coming in as Sophie Eckel right there crosses the line in 18th place. That gap is about 90 to 100 seconds. And again, the number I've been watching all year is if New Mexico can get that closer to 80 or 75, then they're going to get the win. If it stays up 90 plus, they're going to be
in trouble for sure.
They're going to have some nervous moments for sure. And the thing with New Mexico is they've had kind of a different 5 too. Alondra Negron was their number 5 at Nationals last year. Hannah Nuttall was their number 5 at Nuttycombe. Sophie Eckel was now the number 5 here. So I think if you're in New Mexico, you'd rather just have one person that you can count on than 3 people that you're not.
Just like a revolving door.
You're not quite sure of. So yeah, it's getting very, very interesting in this women's race. Let's play a game though.
Oh.
Love games.
On Monday, Gordon always releases the rankings.
Yep.
The D1 rankings, I'm sorry, because then my man Lincoln does the D2 and D3 ones later.
Yep.
I like how you're thinking.
Twice the work.
Yeah, that's true. So he does the men's individual, men's team, women's individual, women's team. So you can check him out on the site there. He also does his top 255 where he just ranks everybody, basically. Yeah. So
it's a list you want to be on.
Yeah. So let's look through that. And if you had to swap 2 teams or 2 individuals on that ranking, who would you swap?
Well, obviously, I'm going to go to the very top of the NCAA because, I mean, we could flop somebody in the 240s with somebody in the 220s. But no, I'm looking at Tyler Day and Morgan McDonald, and I would actually swap Tyler Day, who's currently ranked 5th as an individual from NAU, with Morgan McDonald there in 2. So I'd put Day in 2nd, McDonald in 5th. And it's really...
Didn't you just say McDonald could be with Fisher as one of the champions?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. That's what I was going to say.
I'm
because
a little confused by this take all of a sudden.
Come on, Lincoln.
Yeah, it's splitting hairs at this point because, like you mentioned, there's about 5 or 6 guys that could win and I think are at similar ability. My only thing with is nothing. I'm not saying anything really against Morgan McDonald. It's that just remembering that Tyler Day, although it seems like he's never a guy that's like right at the front of the discussion talking about an NCAA favorite. He finished about this far away from Grant Fisher at pre-nats. Of course, a lot can change in a month between that pre-nats race and nationals. But Day is somebody, I've kind of badmouthed his kick in the past. I think that kick is improving a little bit. And McDonald can still finish, but he's just process of elimination at this point. I just think Tyler Day is going to finish in the top 3, and I had to move somebody back. I didn't want to move Grant because he was on the show today, and
it's a safe bet.
Yeah, but I think McDonald's primed for another top 3 finish. Again, he was 3rd last year, so.
Well, with the men, it's interesting. I mean, who's going to adapt better, not just to the extra 3 weeks, but the move from 8 to 10. Right? And maybe.
And I think Day's a guy that benefits. Actually.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Of course, both those NAU guys. Yeah. My swap. And it also, when you dig in, doesn't make a ton of sense. So I'm really regretting bringing up Lincoln. Edna Kurgat right now is ranked 2. Jessica Hull right now is ranked 7. I would swap those. I would put Jessica Hull at 2 and Edna Kurgat at 7. The reason why this doesn't make sense is then you'd have to jump Jessica Hull above Danny Jones, and she just lost to Danny Jones. But let's put that aside for a moment.
Just a moment.
She's improving like every single race, I feel like. I mean, Hull got the pre-nats win. To be that close to Danny Jones, I think she's going to kind of make another bump up when we get to nationals. And Kurgat's gap between her and Kaladi has grown every single time they've run. It was only a couple seconds at Nuttycombe, grew to a more sizable margin at pre-nationals, and then at Mountain West it was about 18 seconds or so. Edna Kurgat was actually closer to Charlotte Proust, their 3rd runner, than Wayne Kaladi. So there's going to be some gap, I think, in between Kaladi and who's ever 2nd. It's just a matter of who that's going to be. And there are a lot of women who can get in that spot with Ostrander, with Dorcas Wasike, with Danny Jones, with Jessica Hull. But I just like Hull's trajectory.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's made like a frightening amount of progress over the past year.
Frightening.
It is. I mean, it's incredible. Like she. Look at where she finished indoors, and then she's the NCAA champion in the 15, and now I didn't think that she was going to be able to translate that success quite so well onto the cross country course. It's really
she was only 95th last year. I mean, she's in a whole other ballpark.
Yeah.
I mean now, so
right, exactly. All right, one more. Who you swapping?
Yeah, so mine isn't terribly different from yours. I put Alicia Monson. I'm swapping her with Edna Kurgat. The reason why I'm doing that, especially as we start looking more toward NCAAs and the course they're running on, they're going to be running on their home course. It's very clear that the Badgers have an advantage there. They know that course like the back of their hand. And also, I think that I like her style of running a little bit better. She likes to sit and wait and then kick. And if it comes down to that at the end again, she's gonna outkick Kurgat.
I think she's really confident in her close right now. And even if you talk about someone like Sharon Lucchetti, along with Kurgat, like they're not as strong at closers as someone like Monson.
Right.
So they're gonna need to go out hard to get rid of her. But then if you do that, you risk the blow up, right? The idea that maybe you cook it too much over, and then in 6,000, there's gonna be not that small of a gap between the next group that's coming through.
Yep.
So. Yeah, Monson, another big win. I mean, she's been great this year.
She looked fantastic.
Got a late win over Aubrey Roberts of Northwestern. Don't sleep on Aubrey Roberts. Aubrey Roberts is a legit runner. So
well, she's the one who made the move in that race and really got it rolling. So maybe she goes back to Evanston and at Northwestern and says, okay, maybe I fix up a litlittle bit of my tactics and I can surprise people because she's right there.
A couple weeks to go, and in a couple weeks we got regionals right here on the site. We got West featuring Grant Fisher, Great Lakes featuring the Wisconsin crew, and then Mountain featuring NAU, BYU,
New Mexico.
Yeah,
All top action.
Man, it's gonna be good. Okay, before we close out, New York City Marathon is on Sunday. The American women trying to make it 3 World Marathon major. Well, 3 seasons in a row.
Yeah,
3 majors in a row. Who you got, Lincoln?
Yeah, let's go to the men first. Even though obviously Shalane Flanagan,
ladies first, Lincoln.
Okay, ladies first.
So that was Shalane. Shalane gets to be up here because she's the defending champ.
Okay, sorry, my mistake. I apologize to half the world's population. Okay, so the women's race, we obviously have Shalane coming back, and she's the emotional favorite, the American favorite, well, just look at her with that flag. I mean, yeah. But. I like Mary Catani. She's run 2:17. She wants revenge. You know, last year, Shalane torched her coming through, I believe, Central Park, and I just feel it in my bones that it's going to be Catani wanting that revenge. Nothing against Shalane. I think Shalane, of course, will have another good day coming through. As much as because you want to look like you want to be the genius that predicts that an American will win because nobody predicted Desi to win. I'm sure only a few more than normal would have predicted Shalane to win. Yeah. I just can't do it. I think Catani's gonna do it, reclaim a title in New York City and do it. The men's side is a very easy pick. Defending champion Jeffrey Kamworor. All you have to say about him is he closed a half marathon in 13:01. And I think all arguments in. So those are my picks. Very long-winded, but Catani and Kamworor.
Bernard, before we go to Jenny, Bernard got over/under 213 in his debut.
Under.
Yeah. You think under? He's been, I've been following him on Twitter. He's been posting his workouts.
Yeah,
very impressive at
strong right now.
Very impressive tempos. Right at about 5-minute pace. So what is that like? Like 211, 212. No, I guess that's more closer to 210. I'm sorry. But this is the New York City Marathon course. Bold take there. You know what? I think he runs in the 2:13s. I'll say over, but I think he runs 2:13s.
Okay. Yeah. Jenny, your picks?
Yeah, I'm boring. I pick the same people. I think Mary Catani is due. It's been a while since she's won a marathon. Actually, I think it was since London, and where she ran that women's only world record. I think that was her last
2 years ago
win.
Well, she won 2016 New York, so 2 New Yorks ago.
No, I meant like marathons. Overall.
Yeah.
So I think that she's due. And yeah, I don't know. At Kamworor, it's again hard to argue with him. He doesn't own the fastest PR, but I mean, if it's him in the final pack and it comes down to like the last 10 miles, he's got it. I think.
Yeah. Kamworor, that seems like the solid pick there. Be interesting to see if an American gets in the top 5. Women, though, you guys are both completely wrong. It's Vivian Chariot. She ran 2:18:31.
There's a strong argument to be made there.
At London, this is only her 4th marathon that she started, so she's still on the up and up. So I have her number 1. I have Netzanet Gudeta, world half marathon champion, getting 2nd.
Shout out for the half marathon.
Then it's gonna be a sea of Americans. We're gonna go Huddle, Flanagan, Linden, which means Catani is not in the top 5.
Wow.
You talk about how many men can win the NCAA title. The number of women who can win this race, I have it at 7, and 3 of them are Americans. So I'm not going to be surprised if someone is able to pull it off again. But you have to like Chariot. The one downside, she's never run this race before. She's mostly run flat marathons. This is much more difficult. But I'm going Chariot, Gudeta, and then the 3 Americans there.
And because of what Linden and obviously what Flanagan have done, it's easy to forget. Of course, Molly Huddle got third in 2016 in New York City. Was that her debut?
That was.
Yeah, I mean, easy to forget about. She didn't have a great day at Boston, but not many people did, aside from Des Linden and Yuki Kawuchi. But no, I like your pick. She's a master on the roads, and it's just because Des and Shalane have had more success thus far. Molly Huddle's still getting her feet wet and likes this course. Definitely could be up there.
Yeah, only her third marathon of her career. I mean, she's spent a lot of time running road and track. So it's not like she's new to the sport entirely, but new to this distance still. So it'll be fun. Check it out on Sunday morning.
Yes.
Waking up early-ish.
Not as early as Berlin. That was 2:30 in the morning. But
Lincoln always reminded me. He drew the short stick on that one.
Yep.
You guys didn't tell. All right. Stay tuned on the site. Like we said, there's a bunch of rankings coming out. There's a workout Wednesday. If you haven't watched it yet, Lincoln went to Western Colorado.
Yes.
To film,
beautiful part of the country.
8,000 feet.
To film that squad, so you can check that out. We'll be here again next week. We'll be previewing the regional meets and also wrapping up New York City.
Awesome.
Awesome.
See you then.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.